Welcome back. For any of you guys that are wondering, the roof is coming along pretty good. I'm a little over halfway done, so hopefully that should be done pretty soon. Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to be making some battery packs. Now, a lot of times these are used for like e-bikes and stuff like that. I got a couple things in mind though for mine. I made these for under $30 a battery pack, which is insanely cheap. I did happen to have a charger that will charge these batteries, so that helps me out. However, that could be deducted from the price of a bunch of them if you were to build a whole bunch of them. So anyways, let's get to it. So the first thing I need to do is find a good source of some 18650 batteries. And I find the battery hookup to be good. I found these ones which put out a lot at 20C. They're kind of small, 1500 milliamp hours, but that's okay. They say they tested them and they must be right, because I tested them too and they seem like they're brand new cells. They're just perfect. So you get 24 of them at $20, so you're talking about less than $1 a piece. So these are recycled cells, which basically means that they come out of other stuff. These ones are server battery packs, and I'm just going to rip the casing apart as carefully as I can. So as I was removing these, I thought I was being careful, but not careful enough. Here's what not to do. That did cost me a couple cells that I needed to throw out. So when it comes to unsoldering stuff, a lot of times you want to take and add a little solder, and that actually makes the release a lot easier. And I'm just going to take all of these apart. So originally I was going to leave them in these 4 packs like this, and then just connect them together, but I ended up changing my mind. So to process these down into individual cells, I used a rotary tool to grind off some of the spot welds. Most of the time this wouldn't be necessary, but when I tried removing them just using a pair of pliers, it actually ended up tearing open the cell because they're welded so deep. The nice part is that I won't have to sand them for a later step. It looks like I'm prying on them pretty hard, but I'm actually not. I'm being very gentle with them. So now, since I have a 3D printer, I printed out some holders for them. And if you don't have one, you could just take and order these offline, but since I have a printer, that's what I'm going to do. So I snapped these together in rows and I glued them all together. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing 13 rows, and then I'm going to be doing 2 side by side, so that's going to give me 2 in parallel and 13 in series for 48 volts. And I used a piece of metal here so that way I could get it nice and straight. And I just used some CA glue all along them. A little activator, and then I can flip them over and glue the other side. So now that I have all the cells inside of there, like I said, 2 wide and 13 long, I'm going to take and put some glue in between each of the cells, and this is going to help sturdy it up. It's also going to help keep them from vibrating around. So now if you notice, I have 2 facing one way, 2 facing the other way. And on the positive ends, I'm going to put these little paper rings. You can buy these offline, and these are going to help protect it for when I go to solder them. So yes, I am going to solder mine. One of the issues I have with people that talk about it being so bad to solder these is like they'll do a thermal imaging, and they're taking the temperature immediately when they remove the iron. I guess to me it's like if you take a cup of hot boiling water and you dump it into a pot of water, that doesn't mean that pot was exposed to 220 degrees. It's not like the pot became 220 degrees. For him to say that it was reaching high 100s when that's not actually went into the cell, I don't believe it. And of course he's there quick to sell you his book and some connectors and stuff. So I'm gonna say do what makes you feel comfortable and what you feel will work. I don't think that it's worth for me to buy a spot welder for doing a few battery packs. So now you guys are going to notice that I'm not using a BMS here, at least not in the traditional sense when it comes to building a battery pack. One of the reasons why is because I already have a battery charger that can already give me that information plus more. And Another thing is I don't like the BMSs that you buy on how they don't give you any information at all. They don't tell you the voltages or anything else like that. In fact, you have to just kind of assume that they're actually working, and a lot of times they're not. The other reason is the fact that I already have a battery charger, so it's going to save me quite a bit of money, and BMS will cost me another 35, 45 bucks. And I am not claiming to be any professional. I'm just going by all the information that I've found and what I believe is my best option. So on here, the red plugs are going to be for when I charge it, and they're coupled with a balanced charging port. And then the yellow plugs are going to be for the output when I go to use the batteries. Alright guys, so here's what I got. There's 13 cells in a row to give me the correct voltage. I got them in parallel, so that's going to double my capacity. I have the negative here, positive here, and then for balancing, because of the fact that I want to be able to use my charger, which is also going to give me more information than a BMS, I have this one grouped in 6. So the negative, which in this case is the blue wire, goes here, and then it connects the next one here, and here, then here, which is here, because these are connected. And that gives me 6S on the first set, and I can charge those. And then I have a 5S divided off over here. And then I have a 2S over here. So 6, 5 is 11, and 2 is 13. And again, this allows me to be able to charge it from here, which is going to give me way more information than a BMS. I'm going to be able to tell if my batteries are dying, if there's a certain cell that's bad. A BMS, you have no idea until your pack starts acting funny, and by that time it's a little bit too late. Also enables me to put one of these on, so I'm able to check each and individual cell. Now granted, it's going to be checking 2 of these at once because they're in parallel, but it still gives me a way better idea what's going on than a BMS does. So now I had some of this plastic that's for diffusing lights, and I decided to use this around the outside, and that's going to give it some protection as well as hold it all together and keep anything metal from contacting the ends, which shouldn't happen anyways, but just in case. So what I did is I measured it, and then I took and scored it on each side, and then I cut this little piece out. And that will actually let me take and fold it and gives me a really nice curve. So once I have it where I want it, I take and put some tape on it, and I use some hot melt in order to secure it all down. Like I said, I'm not trying to be a pro at this. I'm just trying to get something that works for me at the price that I like. Well, there you have it. Battery packs for very cheap that put out a lot of amperage. Now the question is, what am I going to use this for? Also, I wanted to mention the fact that I did make this a video of its own because it is very particular, and I feel this could help a genre of people that aren't necessarily here for the channel but might be into e-bike stuff. So thank you very much. Have a good one.